Hey guys, it's CarGuy11. How's everybody? Exciting news of the week. And this week, it's all about Supra. So we're going to talk about that, its competitors, and some other news as well. But before we get too far and while people are getting on, let's review last week's videos. And last week, I did not have a live event, but did have a video on Wednesday night uh, about the VW buggy and Tarok pickup. And I guess not a lot of people are interested in those because not a lot of people watched, or maybe they didn't realize the video was out. But if you want to watch them, it's a short video. Um, just something pretty cool that I saw at the New York Auto Show. And then, of course, on Saturday, I did post the new Gladiator, and this was the off-road course that I saw at New York. So I got to ride in it. Pretty cool, pretty fun. It is on dealer lots now, so you can pick up a Gladiator. So if you want to check it out on video before you hit the dealer, definitely watch it there. But anyway, how's everybody doing? CarGuy11's with us. Hi, CarGirl. Thanks for joining. And hopefully we get some more people on as well. Basically, this week, the Toyota Supra hit all the YouTube and media. They had a drive event. So pretty interesting car. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it. We have Zach with us. Hi, all. Just back from a 650 6,500 mile cross country and back road trip in his E51. Awesome. Well, you almost did as many miles as me. Mine was around 7,500. So cool. How did you enjoy it? How'd the car do? What kind of gas mileage did you get? Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Be interested in that. But anyway, guys, let's start with the Supra here. I want to hear what you guys think. Bring it up on screen. And as all of you know, there it is. I really actually like the styling. I think it's different. I think it's pretty cool looking, especially in the blue. I love the blue. I saw it in a couple of the reviews and I was like, wow. It's a real dark blue. This isn't the best picture, I guess, but I really really caught my eye when I saw it. Zach says $940 in gas, Nashville to LA to Portland and back. Started at NCM. Awesome. Hey, you didn't start at the Corvette Bash, did you? That would have been interesting. Cargirl says, I like everything in blue. Yes, blue is my favorite color. And as you guys know, the Corvette's in a bright blue. This is a darker blue. But I don't know. It just really looks good to me. A couple things about the Supra. Obviously, everyone's not happy. It's auto only. Well, I agree with you there. I'm still holding out that they are going to make a higher horsepower manual track version. And the reason I say that is because BMW offers that same engine in the Z4 with 382 horsepower. I think they will get a version, that same higher power version in the future. Also, there are manual transmissions available from BMW that they could stick in here. Um, I think we'll see that in the future. The other thing that's kind of strange is they made, well, what they said to the media is they made it very aftermarket friendly. So they made all these parts that could be upgraded and this and that. Well, um, they actually, in my eyes, made it for future versions that are going to be more performance oriented. I do have a picture here showing the engine bay, and I saw a few videos on this. There's actually a bracing that goes from the strut tower to the front here and each side, and they they don't have bracing there, so they claim it was too stiff with that bracing on. I don't know any car that's too stiff, but I think it just didn't need it for this version. But like a track version with a little bit firmer suspension may benefit from that, and I think it was a cost saving as well. But anyway, if you could see clearly the points here, and it even the airbox has that cut in it, and so that's pretty interesting to me. Also, all of the vents it has are blocked off. They're fake vents. But they said, oh, it could be opened, for the aftermarket can cool the brakes, whatever they want. I don't think they're going to design it for the aftermarket. I think in the future they are going to have a version with these opened up, or at least have the ducting behind there that you maybe it causes too much drag or something for fuel economy reasons, that the customer can just open them up easily. And even oh, get out of here. What is this stupid ad? Okay. Even the front here, they said, oh, we put this on because it was too much cooling, and you can open up this here. Again, I think there's going to be different versions of this with that could benefit from that cooling. And in addition, in the rear, I don't know if I don't have a picture of that, but they said, right, obviously Supra was traditionally had a large wing, but they made provisions in the tailgate here for support for a wing. So I think that's all coming along. But all right, let me get back to the comments now. I know I was ignoring you guys while I was going on my little rant here, but all right. So Autonuts with us. Hey, Autonut. A little too dark for my taste, and I love the blue also. Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to be purpley blue, but to me, from what I saw, it looked pretty good. Of course, I'd have to see it in person. HD's with us. Welcome. Looks like a redone BMW to me. The Z4, I think, definitely has its own distinct look. I do like the styling of the Supra better. I love those curves, the rear haunches and stuff. I think it looks pretty good to me. Zach said, oh, he's talking about his trip. Snow encountered at Yellowstone. Scary coming down the mountain with the stock Super Sports. Wow, that is that's funny. I was worried about Pikes Peak getting snow up there, actually, because that was the highest point, but that was in August, September. So wasn't really expecting snow, but it could have been up there. It was very cold. But yeah, that's interesting. That's pretty wild though. Hopefully you got some video and pictures, so maybe you could share that with us. Autonet says, oh, he's agreeing with HD, especially when you look at the hood below the A-pillar. And HD says they made it so you can Void your warranty quick. Yeah, with all the aftermarket. That's right. That's right. And of course, that engine could be easily tuned with that turbo. So, Autonet says, I believe the too stiff thing was because he believes he believes that it is too stiff because why would they have to cut in the airbox if you're going to do a strut tower bracing? I highly doubt you would have a cold air intake. Um, I don't know. I don't know exactly what you mean, Autonet, because to me, if there was that cut in the air box, they had planned that from the beginning uh, to have those bracing there. So um, I I think for like I said, the track version may need that. Maybe they did end up taking it off because they didn't need it, not because it was too stiff. Too stiff doesn't make sense to me. It didn't need it because the frame could handle that current suspension. This, it's compliant enough. It didn't need extra bracing, put it that way. It could definitely take it, but I don't think they needed it. So it's a weight, cost savings, um, future product need type of thing. But it was definitely designed in because that airbox is cut like that. Uh, Chuck does stuff. Hey, Chuck, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Toyota is probably going to come out with a bunch of options from TRD, and that is why it has the tunability built in. Yeah, I agree with that too. They do seem to offer different parts from TRD. Uh, it's weird though they haven't talked about any of those parts. So I don't know if that'll come later or what. But Autonet says, haha, good point, car guy, lost in translation. Too stiff or stiff enough? Yeah, so I guess we'll never really know the true story, or we may in the future here. But again, stay tuned. I think this is just the first version of this car. I think there may be a 4-cylinder version coming. I think there'll be a manual coming. Sports cars get stale quick, and they'll sell a bunch this year, and then after that, they're not going to sell many. They have to do something to freshen it up. So they always come out with different versions and different trims and stuff. So stay tuned. I am staying tuned because I do like that car. I like the size of it, and I think it's my cup of tea. But I'm not going to do anything with this first gen. So, but let's talk about some competition. And the first one I want to talk about is actually another BMW. A lot of media was comparing it to the M2, and um, it is a good competitor. M2 competition, 2-door, different body style. It looks more, I guess, conservative. I like the styling of the front. I don't like the styling of the back, the rear end. But this car is very interesting because, again, not same power plant. It's a straight 6, but this power plant's out of the M4, and it has 405 horsepower at 406 pound-feet of torque. So a lot more power, and you can get it in a manual still. So, and it's a little bit more expensive, but not a lot more. It's like 60 grand, something like that. And a fully loaded, starting at 59.8. fully loaded, the launch edition Supra is like 57 or something like that. So those that want the manual, I like the styling of the Supra better, but this is pretty close. And I'm actually going to be driving this car soon. My buddy Greg just bought a M2 competition, so I will have a review on the channel. I'm very curious about this car. I drove the previous generation M2 that he had, and I liked it. I enjoyed the car. This has a nice increase in power and some upgrades in suspension and brakes and stuff like that. So will be interesting to see that. Autonut says, why are they making such a big deal about reverse lighting being low like it's something new? Subaru has been doing that for a while now. Yeah, and also Mustang has that low reverse light as well. I like it. I like that styling. It looks like the F1 cars, but those are of course brake lights. So they made it a reverse light. I'm not sure if you're allowed to do that or what. Maybe you're not allowed in the U.S., but I think it looks cool. And um, yeah, I'm not too worried about it, but HD, do you think it's worth the money? Well, when you compare it to the competition, and this is what we're trying to talk about here today. Like the M2 is a little bit more, but it also is more powerful. We're going to talk about the Cayman, which is more money, and I don't know. It's to me, it's a Toyota, but it's really designed by BMW. So I think that it's a luxury car, and it has tons of features, a very nice interior. It has all the safety systems, the adaptive cruise, lane assist, side blinds, all that stuff. So it's a fully loaded car with all the bells and whistles. Um, so it might be pricey for a Toyota, but really it's in the luxury territory. So think BMW, Lexus. I think it's, and on paper the power level seems low, and I think it's underrated. The 335 horsepower power rating, I bet, is underrated. BMW historically has done that. They underrate it, but if you dyno it, it's way more powerful. So I don't think the 335 is the full power. I think it's higher than that. But I think it's an okay price. I don't think it's overly priced, and it starts at 50. So you're basically in the 50s. Also, the Z4, the BMW, the sister vehicle Z4, is in the mid 60s for the 6-cylinder version, and that's the convertible. So it undercuts that as well. Chuck says, does the Supra may start at 49, but almost every dealer is charging 5 to 10 in markup. That's interesting. Yeah, I haven't really explored that or looked into that, but that's a shame. I think just wait a little bit. That initial demand will go down pretty quick. I don't see this vehicle as being in Supra demand. I don't see it lasting that long. Probably this summer, yeah, because everyone's gonna want it when it first comes out. But through next winter, I don't see it. The one thing is they are being imported from Germany, so it's going to take longer to order or get them in. I don't know what quantities they're talking about, but yeah, it's I don't really see it being a problem too long. But anyway, yeah, what's everybody think of the M2? Because I think it's I think it's probably worth upgrading to the M2 just because it's an M car and um, like I said, that power, and you can get a manual. So that's one. Let's talk about the Cayman now. An interesting story that came out from the Cayman this week. We don't even have to talk about the 718, the Turbo 4. This story, well, we heard about it a few months ago, but now this is not confirmed, but reiterated again. It looks like the 6-cylinder version of the Cayman is going to end up in the 718. So what they're saying is the GT4, of course, will have that 4-liter 6-cylinder flat six, but they're also going to have a touring model, and this will be in the Boxster and Cayman, that'll also have that engine, but it's going to be detuned further. So they're saying the GT4 will be around 425 horsepower, and the touring models will be 380. The only thing that's kind of strange is the touring models were always basically a wingless GT model. So tones down the styling, but it's the same car. It's the same power. So this is a little strange that they're talking about it's going to be less powerful. So I can't believe it'll be the same price as the GT4. It'll probably slot in below the GT4, but what are they going to call it then? They just said touring, but it's not going to be a GT4 touring if it's less powerful. So I don't know. It's a little bit confusing. Of course, we don't really know the answer to this yet, but anyway, as far as being a competitor, Porsche, of course, is way more expensive. And I'd only really consider, for me, the 6-cylinder versions. The turbos just don't do it for me. Although, if they do the 4-cylinder Supra, then the turbo 4s would be more of a competition. But anyway, what do you guys think of that news? So AutoNet says M2 comp too heavy, almost the same weight as a stock GTO. I thought the M2 was like 3,500 pounds. Let me see if the article I have shows the weight. Because the Supra is just under 3,400 pounds. Oh, it's 36. It says, yeah, this article says 36. Let me show you guys. Yeah, 3628. And Car and Driver does actually weigh their cars, which is what I like about Car and Driver. I think Car and Driver weighed a Supra. It was like 33 something, close to 34, but it was definitely under 34. So that is a good point. It's a good bit heavier for sure. It is a larger car, and it has rear seats and such, which again is not something that's important to me, but it is a larger car, and it has more power, and it has the manual. So that's a tough call. I mean, I definitely would like to take a Supra for a ride too, and if ever anyone gets one, let me know. I'm sure it's going to be tough to even test drive them at this summer too. AutoNet says only 13.7 gallon gas tank. Dang, yeah, I didn't see that. That's nuts. That tank's gonna go dry. Does it say that on here? Or I don't know if you saw that on your own, but yeah, that tank's gonna go dry quick. That's one thing I don't like is small gas tanks. I have that in my Jeep, and I do not like it. But anyway, what time are we at? Okay, 9:25. All right, I have a couple more stories, and these are not really related to that, to the Supra anymore, but just a couple bits of news. This one was interesting. I saw today. So we just saw the debut of the CT5 Cadillac, and that was at New York. I made a video on it. Actually, a lot of people watched it and liked it. Well, guess what? The CT5V is going to debut on May 30th, at the end of this month already. And we expect it may have that Blackwing V8. We don't know for sure. But that would be pretty damn cool and pretty crazy that they're introducing it so quick. So I guess it's not going to be delayed at all. The CT5 and the CTV will be pretty close in coming to dealers. In addition, another interesting one, a new CT4 smaller sedan is going to be debuted probably at that May 30th as well. And it's going to be on the same platform, which is great. That means it's rear-wheel drive. Hopefully, better styling as far as that rear we talked about. We talked about a few weeks ago. This not coming up, but it's cut off. But the rear looks kind of goofy, and so that's exciting. I hope it's a sharp-looking car. I will kind of interested in a fast four-door. I think that would be a fun car too. Dan in New Jersey is with us. Hey, car guy. Thanks for joining us, Dan. And then the last bit of news. What do you guys think of the Caddy, first of all? Do you think it will have that Blackwing V8? They got to use it more than just the CT6V. And I have that video with the CT6V on the channel. How tight it is in there. I'm not sure if it'll fit in the CT5, but yeah, that'll be interesting now. Okay, so the last bit of news that pretty much everyone's talking about today is the new McLaren GT. And the McLaren GT is supposed to be the touring supercar. Now, I bring this one up more so because of the C8. So this car is going to be $200,000 to start, and it's going to have 600 horsepower, I think. So the C8 is going to be what, 500 horsepower and 60 grand. So I mean, this is just, you know, how much value the C8 will be. It's going to have 612 horsepower, this one. Maybe we don't compare it to the base C8, but maybe even the Z06 C8, maybe it's 100 grand. Still half price. And I'm sure it's going to have the practicality. Corvettes are always have had that practicality in them, and are comfortable as well on the highway, you know, with the mag rod suspension. So I don't know. This car is, of course, going to weigh less because it's carbon fiber, 3,300 pounds, 3,384. So what do you guys think of this car? I mean, I like it. I like the look of it. But if I'm getting a McLaren, I'd probably get, you know, the sport version, not the touring version. Okay, let's see what we have here. Zach thinks that Cadillac will have the twin turbo V6. Well, the turbo 6 that's in it is 335 horsepower, which is odd because it seems low because it's like 400 over 400 horsepower in other versions of that twin turbo. Oh, actually, sorry, it has the 3-liter turbo. This you're saying 3.6. Yeah, it's a good possibility. I wonder if they'll do a V Sport. They've been doing that in between the V and the V and the base as a V Sport. Maybe the V Sport will have that, and then the V will have the V8. I don't know. Maybe they're getting away from that. I could definitely see the CT4, the smaller one, having the twin turbo 6 though. And the reason I say I think it'll be the V8 because if the CT6 is in fact going away, what else are they going to put that Blackwing V8 in? I mean, it's a possibility they'll put it in SUVs, but yeah, I have a feeling that CT5 will keep the V8. Autonut says it will be a caddy. It will be in caddy version of a C8. Yeah, that's true. That Blackwing will. But the C8 will be 3,500 plus pounds, so it's hard to compare it to a McLaren. Yeah, I agree. The unfortunately the C8 will still be an aluminum frame, not carbon fiber. It will have carbon fiber body panels, but the frame itself will be aluminum. Dan says it looks a lot like the C8. Yeah, most mid-engine cars have that same kind of look. So Zach says, how well did the 570 GT sell? Did it need replacing so soon? Yeah, that's what's goofy about McLaren. They come up with new models so quick. I mean, maybe that's good to keep the interest alive. I don't know how they have all that money to develop these. But I don't know about the sales numbers of the GT. I do know I like the 570S better. This one looks a little bigger. This GT looks a little bigger than the 570s. More along the lines of the 720. So I don't know if they'll keep both. I don't know how McLaren works, but right now, my favorite model of the McLaren's a 570S, though. I like the styling of it. The 720 is a little too goofy for me. Dan says, plus the C8 Z06 will be carbon fiber. It will be equal in length and weight. I did not hear that they're changing anything for the Z06. I don't know if you've heard that or speculating, but I wouldn't think that they would go carbon fiber frame. I think, and honestly, I think the C7 frame or the C8 is going to be an evolution of the C7 frame, widened, lengthened for the mid-engine, but I believe a lot of the bones are C7, just tweaked. Zach says primary competitor is DB11, right? Yes. Yes, it's all those GT cars, even the Ferrari F12, or the Lusso, whatever they call it now. No, the Lusso is the wagon. The Super, wait, so Super Fast, yeah, is that one now? Which is more expensive. Yeah, it's tough though. Mid-engine GT car though. I don't know, a direct competitor because the DB11's front engine, so is the Ferrari. I don't know. What do you guys think is a good competitor for a mid-engine GT car? AC said C8 looks like a new McLaren. Yeah, we're gonna see what it looks like coming up here in July. I'm excited for it. And Dan says he's speculating. Okay, no problem. that's what we do. Zach says that's why I'm in love with the C7. Yeah, C7 is a great looking car. It will be tough. I do like the C7 styling. I'm not so far what I've seen of the C8, I'm not blown away by, but you know, we'll have to see when the real thing comes out. Would love to see it in person. Unfortunately, I did not get the invite, so I don't know. I haven't heard many people uh, talk about going though, so that's or many YouTubers or anything. So I don't know how many like YouTubers got the invite. I'm sure all the major publications got the invite, but no one's really talking about it. So Zach says huge trunk was essential on a road trip. Yep, I agree. And Zach, how long did you go for? Because I was 2 full weeks, maybe a little over, and I fit everything in that hatch. It was awesome. Dan says I'd be interested in the market price of a manual C7 or C7Z06 because I will be in the market for that eventually. Yeah, well, they're excellently priced now already, but yeah, once the C8 comes out, they'll even probably be better unless the C8 is sold out like the C7 was. I noticed that when I was looking for C7 and I couldn't get it, the C6 prices were hanging in there because no one could get C7. So you might have to wait again um, till that demand of the C8 goes down before the C7 prices really tank. Um, I missed Autonuts comment. C7 has unique styling. C8 will look like all other mid-engine cars, like you said. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of, and that is a shame. So Zach went for 2.5 weeks on his trip. That's awesome. So yeah. Um, all right. I think we're gonna wrap it up. We're a little long, but yeah. So definitely, if you were playing this back, comment below your thoughts on the new Supra and the small sports cars. I do like a small sports car, and that's another thing about the C8. The mid-engine is going to be larger, I think, which I don't want. So I do like a more compact sports car. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining me. Again, you can listen to this on iTunes podcasts if you want to listen instead of watch. But otherwise, definitely join me. Oh, next week, I probably will not be having a CarGuy11 live. It's actually a track night at my local track pit race in Pittsburgh, and I'm really planning on taking the C7 there for its first track event of the year. And that's obviously as long as the weather is good. I'm not interested in running it in the rain. So, but anyway, that's tentatively what I'm planning. So if not, I'll probably have a video if I don't do the live stream. But anyway, guys, hope you have a good week. Definitely stay tuned for Saturday's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.